What is the Star of David? Is the Star of David Jewish? Where does it come from? And do you need to have one, whatever that means, in order to be righteous? The Star of David, where does it even come from? What is it? Does it have to do anything at all with David? Well, it depends who you ask. But let's break it down. Let's talk common sense, strict logic, observational history. People who say that Star of David came from David, well, is there any proof at all in the Torah, the Tanakh, the writings, the Tehillim, the Psalms, the prophets about the Star of David? Any memorials at all, any references to a hexagram, I believe it's called. It has 6 points, hexagram. There's nothing, absolutely nothing in the entirety of the Tanakh. Some might say that there is a reference in, I believe it's in the prophets, when it talks about the people of Israel, when they were in the desert, they carried their star, the star of their God. And some say it's the Star of David, but in Hebrew, which is the actual language of the Torah, it's not called the Star of David. That would be Kochav David. It's actually called Magen David, which translates into shield. The shield of David, Magen David. Not the star, but the shield. So that interpretation would naturally fall off, because you can't compare two different languages and say one has to do with the other. No, it doesn't work that way. It's not a play on play that they wrote because they knew that 3,000 years later they would come up with the English language and it would translate into the Star of David. Now, people in Israel, on the other hand, would say that the reference would be because in the Phoenician Hebrew, the old pictographic Hebrew, the sign for the letter Daled, which the name David is composed of Daled, Vav, Daled. So Daled was simply a triangle. And since you have one triangle facing up and then one triangle facing down, well, that's Daled and Daled. But then again, the problem is, where is the Vav? If that's the Magen David, it's just Magen dead in the water. So that also falls short. And even if it was, so who said it has to do anything with David? A lot of people can paint all kind of things. Doesn't mean it has anything to do with me, even though it might look like my name. But where is the reference? And the truth is, there is none, because the Star of David has nothing to do with David. As a matter of fact, the Star of David first appearance, as we know it, was somewhere around the 10th century or 11th century AD. That would be about 2,000 years after David was dead. And it appeared as some sort of a decorative shape, something of a mystical origin. And even that wasn't invented in the Jewish community. They just copied it from Eastern religions, because you can see the shape of the Star of David in many Eastern religions that date even back further than the first appearance that has to do with Judaism in some of the synagogues of the 10th and 11th century, and even on some of the first Torahs written in the Masoretic Hebrew. They were written as like I said, something of a decoration. Had nothing to do with the religion, just a little sign for decoration, something festive, like you could do a twirl or a spiral or, just something decorative. Had nothing to do with Jewish people. But they liked it because, well, we like all kind of stuff. When I was young, I liked all kind of symbols and I kept drawing them everywhere. They just appeared to me. My mom showed me some pictures that I drew when I was young. They all look the same. All of my paintings, pretty much, I had a sun, like in the left top corner. I used the corner for the part of the sun. Then I did like a quarter of a circle and a few, yellow lines coming out of it. I had a blue sky and green grass and a tree. All of my painting, I had like 20 or 30 of them. They all looked exactly the same. Doesn't mean I'm God. I didn't create it. I just like it. So think about it, right? You see something you like and you start drawing it. Those people who paint the same thing, they play the same instrument, the same melody, they sing the same song. It's not even theirs. They just found something they like and they take hold of it. You adopt traditions from other cultures, other religions, other people. You see that everywhere. I mean, you think that everything that you do nowadays in America is American? Most of your language doesn't actually come from English. I can give you just a few words, but I mean, let's see. Shofar, right? Somebody who drives you around, a valet. There's so many, I can't remember, but just do your research if you actually want to know. Most of it comes from French and all other languages. The sound je, Jesus, it's not Jesus. The sound doesn't exist in the language, in Hebrew. It all comes from Germany and other European nations. So just because the Jews started doing this thing with the shield of David, this hexagram, doesn't mean it comes from them. Like I said, you can find it in India and Thailand and other Eastern countries way before the Jews ever adopted this symbol. And so why did it even become popular? And that had to do with Christianity, as a matter of fact, because the Jews, some people like to mystify Jews and spiritualize Jews, but we're just humans as everybody else on this planet. Just because you're Jewish doesn't automatically make you holy and righteous and superior. It does not. So they wanted to be like other nations, as they did in the days of Samuel. We want a king to be like other nations. Well, they did it again. They saw Christians and the rise of the cross, which has nothing to do with the faith, the worship of the cross as a symbol, as a talisman, as an idol, a graven image. That too came from Constantine, the Roman emperor, in the 4th century AD. He had this vision, he saw shields with this cross, and he saw himself conquering and destroying his enemies, and he said, this cross is going to bring me victory. And he started painting crosses everywhere, and that became the empire's symbol, the empire's lucky charm, if you will. And of course, he converted the entire empire into Christian, right? The Catholic Church, the universal church, and they just kept that symbol for the church as a symbol of death and conquering. Had nothing to do with salvation and the resurrection. It's the opposite, it's death and conquering. But the Christians just follow blindly traditions as they're told. And, 600 years later, 700 years later, there's crosses everywhere. Crosses under buildings, on churches, etc. And the Jews, well, they see all these crosses when they say, we gotta separate ourselves. The Christians have a symbol. We need a symbol of our own. We need something to identify us with. So they look at what they can do and they find this symbol that somebody used as a decoration on a Torah scroll. And they come up with this thing, this conspiracy theory, if you will. Again, I'm just assuming here about this conspiracy theory. But somebody came up with the conclusion it has to do anything with David. Maybe because of the shape of it, maybe whatever. But there's no evidence, there's no connection between this and David. But, well, as soon as they label it, this is the Star of David. Oh, it burns like wildfire. And all the synagogues, starting from Europe, spreading out, started using the symbol on their Torah scrolls and on their buildings, and Jews started wearing it as a chain around their neck. And before you know it, that became known as a religious national symbol for the Jewish people. Had nothing to do with them, does not come from them, but they just adopted it. And many years later, the Zionist movement, led by Theodor Herzl in Basel, the first Zionist Congress in the 1800s, they wanted to design a flag. Because, The symbol wasn't enough. They wanted a banner like the nations. We want to be like other nations. Well, what better symbol to use than this symbol that already is affiliated with Jews all around the world? The Star of David, Magen David, the Shield of David. So they put it right in the middle with a couple of blue stripes because the Torah does talk about the color blue. When you make the tzitzit, the tassels, you are to put blue threads on it as a reminder of the tablets of the covenant that the Creator gave from sapphire stone, which is blue. It's a reminder of His law. As the heavens are blue, the sky is blue. That's the color of the divine. So they put a couple of blue threads and Magen David in blue right in the middle. And of course, you know the story in Nazi Germany. How would you identify the Jew? Well, you put that Juden thing with the star of, you guessed it, David. Because this is how the people identified. So, they were identified with what they themselves identified themselves with. You see how things just mutate and evolve over time? Not based in anything. I mean, this whole religion of Christianity is not based on anything. Has nothing to do with Christ. That should be a red alarm for you, red alert. I mean, Christianity, the name itself derives from Christ. Christianity, Christians, followers of Christ, someone who is messianic, because Christ means Messiah, Mashiach, anointed one. And yet, Christians have nothing to do with Christ. He was Jewish, he was not a Christian. He kept Shabbat, not Sunday. He celebrated the holy days, written in Leviticus 23, not the holidays, celebrated in the Christian diaspora, Christmas and Easter. One has nothing to do with the other. So don't be so surprised that the Jews have adopted a symbol that has nothing to do with them. The Star of David has nothing to do with being Jewish. And apart from that, and this is the real bottom line here, even if it had something to do with being Jewish, even if it had something to do with David, even if David himself created this symbol, so what? Is David God? Did the Lord, Adonai, Elohim, told you to identify with the symbol? Or did he say you shall have no graven image, no statue in the shape of anything in the heavens above, including stars, on the earth beneath, including shields of men, or on the water beneath the earth? Either way you break it down, the Lord told you, do not identify with any symbol of any form or any shape. The Lord created the heavens and the earth. He said the Lord is spirit. In Deuteronomy chapter 4, when Moshe talks to the people of Israel, he said, remember, you heard a voice on Mount Sinai in the fire, but you saw no shape. Therefore, make no shape and don't worship any sign or symbol or idol or talisman or lucky charm or any rosaries or beads or chains or rings or any other thing. Nothing. God is spirit, and those who worship him must worship him in spirit and truth. Not through rituals and holding something tangible in their arm. That's not God. That's just something dead, created and crafted by the hands of man. That's an idol. The cross is an idol, and the Star of David is an idol. Jews all around the world wear it on their neck as an idol. This is gonna protect me. No, it's not. It's a dead object. It does not breathe, it has no life, and it is not your God. The Lord will protect you if you call on his name, but is not made from wood and stone, or silver or gold. See, it's prophecy come true, really, because the Lord did say, you will worship idols of silver, gold, wood and stone. And indeed we do. The cross is made of wood. The Star of David, most of it is made of gold. 4 karat, 16 karat, it doesn't matter, really. So take it to heart. Make no graven image, worship no symbol. You do not need to identify with any religious artifact or any religion whatsoever. All you have to do is identify as a son of the living God, a righteous man who lives according to the ways of the Creator, to the path of life, to do what's right, to love your Lord, to love his land, to love his people. As he said in Micah 6 verse 8, to act justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. Have fellowship with him, relationship with him. Has nothing to do with any symbols around your neck or any rituals or any building you have to go to. Walk with your Creator and worship him in spirit and truth. So get rid of those iconographies, stars, shields, crosses. Throw it all away and burn it. Don't even give it as a gift. It is an abomination. Get rid of it and worship the Lord.